Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be jumping into some historic best of one with an old deck that I don't think I've played. Ooh, when was the last time I played it? It must have been around pre-rotation, actually, with when Carnage Time was actually a really good card. Today we're going to be playing with one of my favorite lists of jankification, which is going to be an Awaken the Erstwhile list built around the card Awaken the Erstwhile. A 5-mana sorcery says each player discards all the cards in their hand and then creates that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. So essentially we want to have card advantage over our opponent. We want to have probably about 10-ish cards in our hand, and then we want to discard them all, and then we basically leave our opponent on top deck or die kind of territory for board wipes. And in order to actually gain all the cards that we really want in our hand, we're going to be leveraging another wonderful little card called Lich's Mastery. Lich's Mastery being a 6-mana legendary enchantment with triple black pips, so it's not too easy to cast. It has hexproof, so our opponent cannot target it. It says we cannot lose the game, and whenever we gain life, draw that many cards. Whenever we lose life, for each 1 life lost, we have to exile a permanent from either our hand, from the battlefield, or our graveyard. And when it leaves the battlefield, usually from being forced out by losing too much life, you lose the game. So that's going to be our build around of today. We're going to be trying to leverage this as much as possible. You might say, well, if this is your win con, why is it only a one-of? For several reasons, actually, mostly because when Lich's Mastery is in play, we're going to be gaining a ton of life. We're going to be using things like Revitalize, a 2-mana instant that gains 3 life and draws a card. With Lich's Mastery out, for each life gained, we're going to be drawing a card. So this is a 2-mana instant speed, draw 4. We also have 4 copies of Ritual of Rejuvenation for the similar effect as well. This is a 3-mana draw 5. So you can see how we can actually find our Awaken the Erstwhile. We have a Reliquary Tower in one of the few forms that this card is actually good, saying we have no maximum hand size, which means we can get up to 20 cards in our hand or something like that with Awaken the Erstwhile, so that we have an excessive amount of card advantage over our opponent. But yes, essentially we're going to be drawing loads of cards and making loads of zombies. We do have a wish board with Mastermind's Acquisition as well. This does allow us to have a pseudo 4 copies of Awaken the Erstwhile in our main deck, but it also allows us to have a wish board from the side as well. And we also have basically most of the tools that we'd want in our deck in our sideboard as well. So Lich's Mastery is in here and Awaken the Erstwhile. But we also have a load of silver bullets in the list as well. Against the Field of the Dead decks, we've got things like Virulent Plague. Virulent Plague, I can never say that word. Virulent Plague, a 3-mana enchantment that gives creature tokens -2/-2. We can choose to win in different ways as well. We can also go for a Massacre Worm if our opponent has lots of zombies out, so that's not too much of a problem. Obviously, if you're going to go with the Plague plan, you want to do a different strategy to win the game. We do have a few options, things like Axis of Mortality, to exchange our life totals. If we can gain too much life, we'll win the game. We can also just kind of card disadvantage our opponent like crazy. Name things with Ruined Halo and Sorcerer's Spyglass that we don't like. Hate on the Goblins and the Reanimation decks with Containment Priest and Grafdigger's Cage. And win the game maybe with an Exile from the -5 there with a Kaya Orzhov Usurper. So lots of stuff to do here. Also combo decks, if they're running a particular card that might win the game. Because this does say we can't lose the game, but it does not mean that we can't, our opponent can't win the game. It's no the angel, the thingamajig angel, I don't know what his name is, the 7-drop, the one that says your opponents can't win the game and you can't lose. This one doesn't say that our opponent can't win. So, you know, things like Maze's End and alternative win cons of that nature will still win the game, so we can just name them with Necromentia and take them out of the game altogether and give them some zombies, which is kind of nice. We do have 9 lives, so that we can dodge a few bullets as well. When this leaves the battlefield, it says we lose the game, but Lich's Mastery says we can't lose the game. So actually, this is like 9 triggers worth of damage prevention, which actually can be pretty useful if we don't have the graveyard set up. Essentially, what you want to do is you want to wait on Lich's Mastery until you have a filled graveyard, or until your opponent is threatening to kill you. The longer you wait on Lich's Mastery, the better, because your graveyard on your hand effectively become your life total. So if you have 20 life, and you play down Lich's Mastery, you've effectively lost 20 life and traded it for whatever life total is your combined permanents in play, graveyard, and hand, which is usually below 20. So you want to wait on this one as much as possible, but eventually you might have to actually fire off and just go for it. But yeah, if you do enjoy the content and you want to see more of it, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for the gameplay. Hopefully you enjoy. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, opponent plays first. We have... It's an alright hand. It's nothing terribly exceptional about it, but I think turn 2 Mind Stone could be pretty alright. And honestly, the Swamp's the best thing that happened to our draw there. I'm going to play the Swamp into Isolated Chapel Mind Stone and Paradise Druid for our opponent. Alright, so we could be looking at a situation where board wipes look good. That being said, single targeted removal, if it is a big boy tribal kind of deck, which it appears to be, should also be pretty reasonable as well. So we want to get rid of the cost reduction on Goreclaw here, so let's just immediately yeet that into the Shadow Realm. And Paradise Druid again. So I think we're going to be mana efficient. We're going to go 1 Ritual of Rejuvenation to look for decent cards. Eliminate's okay, but this looks like a new ramp deck. Starix. I will let them take the chance on the Starix here, and then I'll Heartless Act it. So they get 1 permanent. It's a Paradise Druid, which is great. And then I destroy it. Yeah, it could have been an Ulamog, and that would have gone horrifically bad for us. But it wasn't, so we keep going. We got a Mind Stone, Godless Shrine. We are literally just looking for Lich's Mastery at this point. If we find that, we're in a very good position, because we can go Mastery into Revitalize. Would you look at that? I am good at Magic the Gathering, chat. Let's draw 4 cards. And we've just drawn another draw 4. We've got Mastermind's Acquisition. I actually don't know what Mastermind's Acquisition goes and gets us, to be honest. Migratory Greathorn on the Paradise Druids. Mastermind's Acquisition grabs us... We could get a Revival Revenge, double our life total, and draw 33 cards, or 28 in this case. It'd be a little bit less than that as well, though. Alright, so we're just going to eat the graveyard. Our hand should fill up pretty nicely with what we've got at the moment. I should not have played the Isolated Chapel. That was a punt. Let's see, 5 mana. I need 6 for Revenge. I'm going to save the Mastermind's Acquisition for the fun. So let's go with a Revitalize here. See if we can answer the Migratory Greathorn with a nice top deck. Oh, there's a Kaisrath. Okay. Works for me. Wipe the board, get the Devotion off of Nylea. And then we're going to draw 31 cards next turn. That being said, actually, no, we're not. Because I would need to be able to play Reliquary Tower after that, and I can't do it here. So instead, we're going to go Temple of Silence. I don't actually think it matters what we put anywhere, to be honest. Because we're essentially just going to draw whatever we want. I think we're just going to go for it now. Going to go Revenge. There it is. And we're going to pass the turn. Can revitalize on our opponent's turn so we don't have to discard to hand size. They got a Shifting Ceratops, which is fine. We've got plenty of cards to yeet. So if they just want to haste that through, that's perfectly okay. They've got mismatching forests, by the way. What are you? A savage? In fact, there's literally like one mismatching forest in there. They've got like 3 of this and then just one Minecraft forest. Okay, I am going to draw 4 cards and put one in the yard. Cry the Carnarium's not exactly a useful card. Oh, there we go. We don't have to lose any. Alright, we'll kill Shifting Ceratops because we can. Keep our graveyard intact. And then we're going to double our life total and halve our opponents. Drawing 34 cards. Play Reliquary Tower. And Awaken the Erstwhile. Good luck, opponent. I have 37 2/2s, you have 5. What say you? What say you, opponent? They don't have enough to Ugin. I was not considering Ugin, in fairness. But yeah. Seems good. We're 1 point short of greatness. Could have been on 69. That would have honestly completed it. This would have been the best video I made all year if I'd have ended my life total on 69, but it's a shame. Alright, opponent reveals a Galter, which they can play, and then they can die. Block, 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 swing, swing, swing. Oh, so close. So close. Alright, pretty solid. Okay, we are in, and this hand actually looks pretty decent, so we're going to keep it. We've got the Reliquary Tower early on, which, you know, has its ups and downs. It's just nice to know that we have it. We've got Revitalize if, you know, we ever get to that point, and we're up against Goblins. Alright, so this is the matchup that I am quite curious about. We're going to basically murder everything. We know our opponent's got an Embereth to draw for the turn here. Yeah, this is the one that I'm a little concerned about. Opponent just has an Incinerator. Okay. Well, we're going to go with Mind Stone and pass the turn. Do not think that we Heartless Act the Incinerator. I think we'd rather take the damage there. But any follow-up like a Krenko can get Heartless Acted, and we need to work towards a Kaya's Wrath for sure. There's Krenko. He's dead now. Opponent might just land their way into Muxus, which would be a tilt, for sure. But I suppose we can go Mastermind's Acquisition, card you own from outside the game. We can go get Grafdigger's Cage to stop Muxus. Is there anything better? Massacre Worm would be relatively brutal, but if they got Muxus, they could just win. Could name Muxus with Necromantia, but that wouldn't end the game. I think we just grab a Grafdigger's Cage for the first one. And we'll just shut off Muxus. Also shuts off, to a certain extent as well, Conspicuous Snoop. Goblin Ringleader. Okay. Temple of Silence. Vraska's Contempt. It's not the worst. We go Mastermind's Acquisition, I think, for Massacre Worm next turn. judging by the amount of stuff they can play out. It's not the worst. I feel like we should probably just dig for Lich's Mastery, though. Into the sideboard. And I think it is, I mean, it could be Virulent Plague, but I think Massacre Worm's just cuter. There we go. Make our opponent lose 2 life for every creature that dies to that. So they'll go Chieftain for a big swing. We'll go Massacre Worm, they'll lose 6. Probably 8 if they're going to play the Prospector as well. Which they are not. Alright, well, Massacre Worm. There we go. Weird text box. A little bit buggy. We're at 6. Can we die? Good question. I have no answer. I imagine it's entirely possible. Knowing Goblins, they can just win out of nowhere. I'd like to be able to untap with my Disfigure. Goblin Matron, get any card they want. Go with maybe Conspicuous Snoop. Goblin Chieftain, okay. To give haste. Temple of Silence for us. And put the land to the bottom. I think we're going to go with a Revitalize here. Oof. Okay, pass the turn. Have a Chump Block and a Disfigure to kill the Chieftain to stop them from all having haste. We might get our opponent to really commit to this board state. Oh. Was not expecting that. And Skirk Prospector. Is this where we see our opponent sacking their goblins and losing 2 life for each of them? But that would actually, I think, kill them. If the stack works the way that I think it would. So they lose 4. And then they deal 3 to Massacre Worm. Yeah, okay. That's how that goes, I suppose. So essentially what they were going to do, I think was their best line, was they were going to go for the Goblin Chieftain and then use that to tap Krenko. And I would disfigure the Chieftain. They would lose 2 and the tokens they made off of Krenko wouldn't have haste. But they would then be able to, I guess, play another Chieftain, give that haste, and then swing through and lose life there. But after that, it would be a Destroy All Creatures, and I think that Destroy All Creatures with a Massacre Worm out would make our opponent lose the game. I think. I imagine these go on the trigger on the stack at the same time if they all die at the same time. Pretty sure that's how that works, but yeah. Taking down Goblins. Sweet. Okay, we are in, and let's see, our opponent goes first, and we've got a good hand against creature decks, as long as we make our land drops for the turn. Ooh, that's a sketchy one. Does this hand beat Goblins? That's the real question we got to ask ourselves. I think it does. That's the creature deck to worry about, essentially. Looks like maybe mono white. It's going to be Soul Sisters. Okay, we drew a Reliquary Tower, which land drop for the turn is perfectly fine by us. And yeah, I think we've got enough of a decent hand for a Soul Sisters deck. Dauntless Bodyguard, sure. Can give Indestructible to the Leonin Vanguard. But that doesn't do them much good if I intervention it. Alright. So we're going to go Isolated Chapel and pass the turn. Slow hand for us, for sure. But if they can't resolve creatures, then nothing's really going to matter too much. There's an Alseed. Yeah, Mastermind's getting Cry of the Carnarium's looking pretty sick right now. So what would they protect with that Alseed? I guess it doesn't really matter. We're just going to give -1 to the Leon and Vanguard here. Give our opponent the good old nice. Opponent hasn't got all day, you know. They're using their valuable time to play Magic the Gathering. They wouldn't want to be wasting their time now, would they? Alright. A lot of damage on board. Not really seen many Dauntless Bodyguards in Soul Sisters, to be honest, but I can see the reason for it. For sure. Just got Godless Shrine tapped here and then try to eliminate something. I mean, what's this one protecting? This is protecting Soul Warden. We're just going to take the 2 points off the board anyway, I think. And there's Heliod's Sun Crowned. So we'll go after the Dauntless Bodyguard here. That'll leave Heliod on 4 loyalty, so he's not a creature who enters the battlefield and triggers Soul Warden. And then if we draw either a white or a black source off the top, we've got Kaya's Wrath, leaving our opponent pretty stranded. 42% chance to completely screw our opponent over. Whiff. Okay, it's not the end of the world. Mastermind's Acquisition. Tell me about your day. What would you like to do? I don't think there's much in the sideboard that helps us. Cry of the Carnarium's a weird one as well, because the Alseed's probably going to be a 3/3 next turn. Could just go for a land drop for Kaya's Wrath. Just search my library for a temple. Opponent went... Oh, do we actually have I can't remember if I've made my land drop this turn. I'm going to go for the Isolated Chapel just on the off chance that I haven't, because I'll need the untapped land. I have already made my land drop. Okay. Just checking. Healer's Hawk. Enables Heliod. Pumps the Soul Warden. Okay. And this isn't protecting anything anymore, so... I'm going to go down real low, unfortunately. Down to 1. Oh my goodness. Alright, but since nothing can gain indestructible, it's all going to die. And as long as our opponent can't animate their Heliod, we've got no problem. And in fact, we can even play Lich's Mastery, and we go up to 4, actually. Which is useful. You can sack it if you want, it doesn't do anything. Yep, Heliod wouldn't have died anyway, so taking him out of combat, or out of the battlefield there, doesn't really do anything either. So we do not want to see, like... Oh, cool. I'm just going to go for a ritual to find the land, hopefully. There's a Revitalize. Yeah, I'm going to have to Revitalize again. Just cannot hit a land, eh? Well, we hope to next turn. Serra Ascendant. That is a 6/6. That is absurdly large. I'm going to have to Wrath that, I think. Then again, we can take the damage. Should we take the damage, though? That's the real question. I don't think we should. I think I'll just Wrath. Remember, the longer we can go without playing Lich's Mastery, the more chance we have to fill our graveyard up and make the graveyard a better life total for us. So there's a Ajani's Pridemate. That's a much more palatable creature to hit us in the face. So now we'll drop down the Lich's Mastery. We've got 7 cards in the yard, so we're not really losing much. We're effectively, in a roundabout fashion, the way, as far as I'm concerned, concern anyway. We're losing 1 life. As we have this 8. This 8 is no longer relevant. Oh! Oh, that's real bad. Oh, that's real bad. Taking 9. Okay, we're going to need to find an answer to that. Triple off the top. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I think we go after Awaken the Erstwhile. We can grab one from our sideboard. It's not the end of the world. Heartless Act is not a very good card here. So let's draw 5. Isolated Chapel. And let's Cry the Carnarium with a Disfigure. So we can Cry, give -2, -2, and then Disfigure the Benelish Marshal. Or I could just Ritual. Try and find maybe an Eliminate off the draw 5. Oh, it's so ridiculously risky. Well, we've got to Revitalize. Let's go again. There's the Eliminate. Okay, so we've got 3 cards here, and then we've got several that we can get rid of in our hand, but I think it's just too many. I think it's just too much damage. Considering we don't have a Kaya's Wrath currently in hand, we're going to have to Masterminds for it. And this is 14. It's 3. Yeah, we're at -4. Alright, so we take... I actually don't know how much we're going to lose here, but we're going to go land, 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 Mindstone, Heartless Act, Disfigure, the Eliminate, Cry of the Carnarium. Okay, we're good. We are good. Alright. Our opponent's about to lose their entire board state. So we go Masterminds Acquisition into the library, because we don't have one in the sideboard. We get Kaya's Wrath, and we reset this again, and we hope our opponent can't just out of nowhere animate Heliod again. Should, with the Eliminate, be able to stop them. See, that's something we can kill. There's a Temple. Definitely want that on the trash pile. And I guess we'll just kill Serra Ascendant now. We're going to need to top deck anyway, no matter what our opponent plays off the top. Yeah, Benelish Marshal would have animated Heliod there. That is maybe one of the best cards we could have drawn. However, the 4 we're going to draw off of it also need to be the best cards we could have drawn. That's terrible. Draw 3. There we go. That's actually very good. Alright, so Heartless Act, kill Benelish Marshal, take that Devotion off the board. Revitalize, draw 4 more. Ritual. There we go. Vraska's Contempt is nice. We're not going to need it just yet, because there is no 4 white pipped card they could draw here. Thanks. And then we'll just do Godless Shrine tapped. There we go. Vraska's Contempt's gain us 2 life as well, so this is a kill and draw 2. On it with the Venerable Knight. We got 9 cards left in our deck. Good lord. Yeah, let's just Vraska's Contempt, Venerable Knight. Remember, if our opponent can't win and we can't lose, that means they lose. So we just need to grab a card with Mastermind's Acquisition that wins us the game on the spot, essentially. We're going to go Mind Stone. Tap Mind Stone. Play Mind Stone. Play Isolated Chapel. And pass the turn. We could go for Axis of Mortality and hurt our life total in such a way that we have a minus life total. I think that's probably the way we want to go about this. Crack Mind Stone. Go digging for it. Didn't find it. We'll go Temple. Sooner we find it, the better. Draw cards. There it is. Okay. I mean, we could just go Masterminds, get Erstwhile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 2/2s. They could eventually get out of that, though, and we don't really have the cards in our deck to win the game that way. So let me give our opponent the old thinking. This is not an easy play to make. I actually kind of think we let them hit us a little bit. We'll go into the sideboard. We'll grab Axis of Mortality. So if we ever go into the minus life totals, we win the game. See, the thing is, we've got 11 cards here, and our hand size is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Actually, it's not bad. We can play Lockthwain. We can draw a card and take a ton of damage. And then play Axis of Mortality. Yeah, we go to -3. Your opponent needs a disenchant off the top. They need to actually get lucky enough to draw disenchant. Otherwise, our -3 becomes their -3. Good luck. Disenchant or bust. I will exchange life totals. You're at -3 and I'm at 41. We would have drawn 44 cards there, by the way, had we any deck left. We actually had one card left in our deck, but yeah, that's one way to beat Soul Sisters. Just use their life total against them. Yeah, that was a very odd and awkward matchup there, where we had to kind of pivot from our usual game plan. That just kind of shows the toolbox side of the deck, though. We got lots of ways of winning the game. Mostly about life total manipulation in a lot of ways and hand manipulation, but yeah, Axis Mortality takes the day this time. Do love this card. Doesn't see too much play, obviously, because it's not that great, but you know, in a Lich's Mastery deck, when you can go into the minuses without losing, absolutely solid. You can also do, like, I think the last time I tried to do a Mortality list, it was trying to set up our opponent being on 3 so we could lightning strike them after we exchanged life totals. And we basically kind of just swapped life totals constantly until our opponent was on 3 and we won the game that way. It was very, very bad. But, yeah, much worse than this one. This one's actually been performing pretty well. It's beat Soul Sisters, it's beat Goblins, it's beat a couple of casual decks, in fairness, but yeah, it's doing pretty well. Okay, we're in. We've got a decent mana base, and it's just all removal. You can't really go wrong with an all removal hand in most cases, I would say, especially in a time like this where 3 Fairy has been banished and Flash decks reign supreme. We're going to actually just tap land our Godless Shrine. I imagine anything we want to kill here is just going to die to a Disfigure anyway. And I was absolutely correct. Goodbye, Electromancer. So it's probably Izzet Phoenix, so we want to save our Vraska's Contempts for that. I'm just going to go Godless Shrine tapped. And, I mean, what do we want here? What's our ideal draw? I guess, like, a Mastermind's Acquisition could absolutely end our opponent. Since we could go into the sideboard and grab things that truly hate on Arclight Phoenix, but, I mean, we don't need to right now. Arclight Phoenix is gone for good. Thank you, opponent. I worked very hard for that card. Ritual of Rejuvenation. I am going to put to the bottom. I think we're digging for Lich's Mastery at this point. I might even draw and take 5, to be honest. Depends on what our opponent does here. I mean, we've opened up a pretty nice Vraska's Contempt on the next Arclight Phoenix, if that pops up, but looks like it might not. I don't really want to just, like, lose to random burn spells, though, so taking 5 unnecessarily, I guess, is not really what I have in mind. We'll pass again. Okay. Castle Lochthwain for this deck is essentially just, if you're out of cards, draw a card. You don't want to use it after you've got Lich's Mastery out, because you will lose life, which effectively loses your graveyard as well in the process. So while our opponent's tapped out, we'll kill this creature with no counters on it. And this time I'll take 4. It's a Mind Stone. Cry of the Carnarium is insanely good. We'll go Mind Stone and pass the turn. I mean, I didn't think we were black-white control, but here we are. Do I kill that? I don't think I kill that. Unless my option is Cry of the Carnarium, and then I might consider it. I think I just let that go. Worst case, it brings Arclight Phoenixes out at a cheaper rate, and we just yeet them again, and we Cry of the Carnarium them. It's got 2 toughness, yeah, so Cry of the Carnarium is just absurdly good, and I want more value than what we have here. Stormwing Entity. Okay. That's dead. 2 to the bottom. So they've got lots of alternative ways of winning the game outside of Arclight Phoenix. Alright, let's see if they've got a dive down. I doubt it. Decks like this don't really have time to be diving down. I will crack the Mind Stone here. I think we've got enough mana that we can start digging for a win con. And yeah, we'll pass. Well, we did get a Ritual. I was thinking about using this, and then I realized that if I had like Lich's Mastery, I'd want that draw 5 to really just send us off, but now I feel bad because we've just drawn another Ritual. Graveyard's only got 5 in the yard, so you always want to keep track of your graveyard, because when Lich's Mastery drops, your life total is effectively, you want to treat your life total anyway, effectively as the size of your graveyard. So my life total is 5 if I play Lich's Mastery, for example. Of course, you can lose lands and you can lose things from your hand, but you really don't want to be doing that. So if your graveyard's not full enough, you don't want to be playing Lich's Mastery, unless you absolutely have to. There's a few situations where you're essentially just forced into a corner. See the Truth. It's pretty good with Finale, which is now playable thanks to Teferi no longer shutting it down completely. I actually do want to play around with a Phoenix deck in the near future, so expect to see it. Probably do it in Standard though. I don't know if there's much that our opponent's done here that you couldn't do in Standard. Alright, so do we take 5 and go for a nice value Cry instead? Or do I just kill this? I might just kill it. This is just kind of embarrassing my opponent's deck. And we'll Ritual and gain 4 as well. Yeah, eliminate, okay. That's better use of removal for something like an Electromancer. Let's play a Mind Stone, pass the turn. Opponent's at 32 cards. We've got rid of 2 Arclight Phoenixes. Mystic Sanctuary. But See the Truth on top. Okay. Which is fine, I suppose. I imagine that's for pulling out your Finales, so you can do it again. Actually, does Finale... Ooh, that's nice. That's a nice combo. So they put it on top, and then they exiled it with Light Up the Stage, which meant it was cast from a different area, which means they, instead of looking at the top 3 and picking one, they actually drew 3. It's pretty insane. Frantic Inventory. They're going to deck themselves at this rate, and I'm willing to let them do that. I will chomp with a token. Got nothing better to do. And if they play down a Sprite Dragon, we've got the Eliminate. I think they want to play around Heartless Act, though, to be honest. I think that's their plan. So this is probably where they dump Arclight Phoenixes. They haven't managed to discard. And they hope it's good enough. Some Lightning Axes that are dead cards. I'm gonna crack my Mind Stone. Again, we've got enough mana at this point. I just kind of want my win con, and I can't find it. And I don't think we fire off the Ritual when we've got a decent enough hand like this. So Stormwing entities currently look to be a problem for us. We've only seen one. I do wonder how many slots for creatures they've got left, though. If they've got the 4 Arclight Phoenixes, which I feel like that's just a given. They've got the Electromancer, they had the Sprite Dragon, and the Stormwing entity. I want to say they've probably got about 16 creatures, considering these are usually, like, repeatable creatures. So it kind of makes up for it. There's a Sprite Dragon. Chart course, sure. We'll let it get relatively huge. Get our opponent's hope up a little bit. If they've got a dive down, we've got double Eliminate. Pillar of Flame on me. Okay, take 2. Pillar of Flame on me. You say, this is kind of what I was concerned about when I wondered about how low my life total should go. Okay, they're going to go to combat. We're going to say, that's dead now. It's dead now. And I'll make a 1/1 to block. 9 cards in the yard. We're almost at an interesting life total where Lich's Mastery is profitable. It's a weird one, though, because they can make up a lot of damage very quickly, and having the Stormwing entity is not ideal for us. We're going to need a Kaya's Wrath or a Settle the Wreckage or anything of that sort. I think that means I've got to fire off our Ritual of Rejuvenation here. Awaken the Erstwhile is not a card that I want to be playing. I think I'm Lock-Thwaining. Two, 3, draw a card. Got 3 mana left open. Take 4 for doing it. I think I've got to do it. I think I need to kill this Stormwing entity really badly. Revitalize. There we go. Okay. So our opponent gets free reign to do whatever they want here. Which does include maybe chaining together a lot of damage, but then we Kaya's Wrath. We could die. We honestly, at this point, we could die. I do foresee a selection of cards here, as well as having the Electromancer out, where our opponent can play enough cards, get all the Arclight Phoenixes left in their deck into play, prowess the crap out of their dragons and entities, and 19ers. See, that's a lot of cards right there. So they can play 4 more cards, they're already dealing 12. Yeah, I think I actually might lose now. If I get to untap and Kaya's Wrath, there's hope. Thrill, discard Phoenix. Land drop for the turn. They've already got Phoenix coming out as well, so that's another... Is it 3? 3-2, right? It is a 3-2. And they've got shocks. Yeah, they're more than making up enough damage here to win the game. Perhaps holding up and eliminate was the better plan. I'm not sure. We just ended up playing a control game there, which is not what we would ideally want to do. The control side is a supplemental kind of strategy to allow us to survive until we find our combo pieces, and we just didn't do that. Like, playing Awaken the Erstwhile was just going to ask for us to lose, essentially. Maybe I got aggressive with my Lockthwain, I don't know. I wouldn't have found this Kaiserrath in time, assuming I would have lived here. But yeah, that's a bit of a shame. They got down to 9 cards as well. It was only a matter of time until they could actually do that. I mean, maybe a Cry of the Carnarium to just kill Electromancer was also a call. It was something I considered, but I felt with the amount of mana they had available, I don't think the cost reduction of 1 was really going to stop them from at least getting Arclight Phoenixes out. But yeah, apparently it did. Alright, guys, well, that is going to do it for today's video. It's a shame we had to end it on a loss, but, you know, I'm surprised we won as much as we did, to be honest. And some of them were just kind of hilarious ruffle stomps. So yeah, this deck's a lot of fun. I don't know if it's entirely competitive, as the games that you've seen today are the only games I've played with it. So, you know, the win rate in a very extremely small sample size is very good, but I don't necessarily think that it's a good deck, but it is a hell of a lot of fun. And if you do enjoy combo decks with a kind of control sub-theme to them, this is going to be right up your alley. Lots of killing, and then just dumping a massive tokens onto the board. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, if you've enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Other than that, though, I'm going to leave it off here. Take care, guys. Have a good day.